Number 1, when filled, a particular round balloon has a diameter of 14 inches. What is the approximate volume of the air needed in this balloon? I know that a balloon is a sphere, so I'm going to use the formula 4/3 pi r cubed. I'm going to fill in, the diameter is 14 inches, which means the radius is going to be 7. So I'm going to fill in 7, and I get B. Number 2, a cone. So since it's a cone, I'm going to use pi r squared times the height divided by 3. It has a radius of 4, so B equals pi 4 squared and a height of 9, and I'm going to divide that by 3. When I do that, I get 151 centimeters cubed. The soup can is a cylinder, so I'm going to use pi r squared times the height. I can't write today. When I do that, I see that the radius is 3 and the height is 6. When I type all those in my calculator, I get A. For number 4, this is obviously a sphere, so I'm going to use 4/3 pi r cubed. I know that the radius is 4. When I type all that into my calculator, I get B. For number 5, it's a cylinder again, so volume is pi r squared times the height. It has a height of 4, a diameter of 2, which means the radius is going to be 1. When I type all that into my calculator, I get 13 cubic feet, about approximate. It was a decimal. I have a cone, so volume is equal to 1/3 pi r squared times the height. It says that the height is 18 inches, the diameter is 9, which means the radius is 4.5 times pi times 1/3 equals V. When I type all that into my calculator, I get about B. Number 7. I have a cylinder again, so I'm going to use pi r squared times the height. I see that the height is 20, the diameter is 10, which means the radius is 5. When I type all that into my calculator, it says pi for my answer choices, so it would be 500 pi. I typed it all in using 3.14 for pi, then divided by 3.14 when I saw that the answer choices were pi. The approximate volume of the cone, we have pi r squared times the height divided by 3. The height is 7. The radius is going to be 5 because the diameter is 10. When I type all that into my calculator, I get B. Ashley and Tom each have a ball. So for Ashley's ball, pi, the radius is 3. And for Tom's ball, which is a sphere, the radius is 4. For Ashley's ball, I get 113 inches cubed. For Tom's ball, I get 267. It says what's the difference, so therefore I need to subtract 267 minus 113, and I get 55 cubic inches. A hollow glass cone is filled with perfume and placed inside a hollow cylindrical container with the same height and diameter as the cone. The cylinder will be filled with packing material. If the cone occupies 60 cubic centimeters, so here's my cylinder I can't draw. Here's my cone that has the same height and radius. The cone is 60 centimeters cubed, so we want to know how much packing material we need. Well, if the volume of the cone is 60 centimeters cubed, we need to figure out what the volume of the cylinder is. And we know from the videos and the formulas that 3 cones fit in a cylinder. So if the cone is 60, 60 times 3 means the whole cylinder is 180, right? But I don't need 180 cubic centimeters of packing material because the cone takes up 1/3 of that. So really, if I subtract the 60 that the cone is taking up, I get 120, and that would be how much packing material I need. Joe has a cylindrical glass jar that he wants to fill completely with apple juice. The jar is a diameter of 4 and a height of 8. Which formula can be used to determine? So it's a cylinder. Formula for a cylinder is here, B. We have another cone. So which equation represents? Well, since it's a cone, I know I need 1/3. So if I look at all these choices, the only one with 1/3 in it is B. So it has to be B. Number 13. Amanda wants to know how much water she could put in a cylinder she has. The formula for a cylinder, again, is this one. So we need to find the difference between these two volumes, it says. So first I have to find the volume of the cylinder, which is pi r squared times the height, which is pi 10 squared times 20, which is 6,280. Now the volume of a rectangular prism, we talked about length times width times height at the beginning of the year. It looks like the length is 20, width is 45, height is 20. It doesn't matter the order you put those numbers in. When I multiply them together, I get 18,000. We want to know the difference, so I'm subtracting 18,000 minus 6,280, and I get 11,720 cubic feet. Cube root of 85 is between what two integers? So cube root means I'm doing a number times a number times a number 3 times, right? So 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. 85 is not between those two. So now let's look at 5. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. 85 is between 64 and 125, so I think the answer is B. Square root of 90. Well, I know that the square root of 7 is 49, or square root of 49 is 7. Square root of 64 is 8. 90 is not between those two numbers. Square root of 64 is 8. Square root of 81 is 90 is not between 64 and 81. So here's 81 and here's 100. 90 is between those, so the answer would be C. A square has an area of 47 square units. How can I get the side length? Remember, to get that, we know that area is equal to side squared. So if I know the area is 47, the inverse of squaring something is taking the square root. Well, I know square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 7 is, or 49 is 7. 47 is between 36 and 49. So A. Mike has a large plastic cup that he is going to fill with water. The plastic cup is in the shape of a cone, which is the closest to the volume. So I know I have 1/3 pi r squared times the height. Volume is equal to 1/3 pi. The radius is 3. The height is 7. When I type all that into my calculator, I get 66 cubic inches.